and welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. And this is the latest 24/7 news roundup, going through all the latest transfer rumours as it continues to boil on. I'm sure we're all getting a tiny bit sick of it all at the moment, aren't we? And just uh, and just awaiting when it's finally over and we can finally see what business we've done and get on with this season that seems to be taking forever to start. But yeah, starting straight away with the big talking point of the last 24 hours or so that we've reportedly had a 27 million pound bid rejected for Tyler Dibling. This has been reported by the Telegraph's James Ducker and both as well as Paul Joyce with the Times. So seems very strong sources that suggest that we are now seriously interested in the Southampton winger. Um, I've actually recorded a video with Martin Sanders, Southampton podcaster, talking about Dibling and getting a good insight into what we can expect if the deal does go through for us, whether or not it'll be a good deal for us. So yeah, make sure you keep your eyes peeled for whenever that goes up onto the Toffee Blues channel. That'll go into a bit more depth and probably give you a bit of an insight um, into how good a signing it'll probably be for us if it does go through. Um, my takeaway from it is that I'm not entirely sure it's actually the deal we should be going with, or the deal we should be going for. A poll went up on the Toffee Blues Twitter account, X account, whatever you refer to it as these days. With over 4,000 votes. 66.8% said they'd be happy with the deal. 20.3% say they would be unsure of the deal. That's where I voted. That's probably where I put myself as well. Whereas 12.9% I'm happy with the deal. But the idea specifically that which has been reported that 35 million should be enough to get him over the line. A lot of money to play for a lad who's basically only had one full season of senior football, albeit um, being one of the more shining lights at a very poor Southampton team last season. Um, and yeah, that's one of the reservations for me, in that it is definitely a gamble for a player that inexperienced. I think the profile of the player, and as suggested by Martin when I spoke to him, is that he's maybe not quite, the out and out winger we probably need on that right hand side. He's another one that likes to cut in and sit more inside, kind of like in Deise does on the left hand side. He said that um, the two players are very similar in profile, which again it is potentially a good thing. But I do think we need more pace on that right side personally. And I know we've been frustrated in our efforts to get a few more players in that position over the line. Obviously, Fafana's been the latest one. Kubo earlier in the window as well. So I can see why we've moved on to Dibling, but I'd like to think it's maybe just us exploring our options still a little bit, and we don't um, panic and dive into paying so much money for someone so inexperienced. But yeah, the reports seem to be that we're going to be making another bid, and as I say, 35 million is it seems to be around the sort of value that Southampton are demanding. So we'll see how that one pans out. Moving on, Fabrizio Romano has reported that both us and Nottingham Forest continue to be interested in Douglas Luiz and have made contact with both the player and the club in recent days. The report seems to be that Forest are just a little bit ahead of us. Obviously with the fact that they're in Europe in the Europa League this season playing a huge factor in that. Douglas Luiz appears to be keen on wanting Europe, which obviously puts us on the back foot a little bit. Um, it's an interesting one, this. I do really think he's the sort of profile player we should be getting, a really top talent, getting right into his prime now, 27 years of age. Obviously, you're not overly keen on paying too much for him. I think the initial report seemed to be that we wanted a loan with an option to buy to see what he's like for a season before dishing out any serious money. But yeah, I do think he's a really top player. I guess the main reservations for me would probably be his wages. He'd probably be demanding quite a lot. Probably would want to be one of our more highest paid players. And you've also got to take into account the fact that his agent is Kia Joorabchian, obviously one of Mashiri's what's the word, infamous influencers, I guess you can say, during his his time at the club. So yeah, I think we're all basically keen to steer away from him, if at all possible. So yeah, I don't think this is going to happen. I think he'll end up going to Forest if indeed he does move this summer to the Premier League. Yeah, Forest do appear to just have that edge on us right now, which again, with them being in the Europa League now, obviously makes sense. Um, then yeah, moving on to another Brazilian again being linked to us. So with Fabrizio Romano, it's kind of come out of nowhere this one a little bit. I haven't seen his name suggested at all. I'll be brutally honest, I haven't really heard of the guy before, but yeah, the Botafogo goalkeeper John Richter um, is now supposedly we are interested in along with West Ham. Romano suggests that West Ham have already made a bid of 8 million euros for the goalkeeper. Um, as I say, this is a bit of an odd one for me. It's come a little bit out of nowhere. We haven't really been in the market at all for a goalkeeper since we signed Mark Travers. With both him and Harry Tyler, obviously a younger um, keeper who maybe you'd be looking to try and get out on loan this season, maybe potentially that championship loan, maybe. But I think with those three, I think we're more than covered in the goalkeeper position, and I'd rather us be looking at other options. Um, rather than this guy. And to be honest, looking at him, I don't really understand what the appeal is there, and I especially don't understand where 8 million euros has supposedly come from. He's barely played out of Brazil throughout his career. He had a brief time at Real Valladolid in Spain, but was just a backup there, barely played. And Botafogo signed him just 18 months ago from Santos for 1.5 million euros. So I've no idea where 8 million's come from. 29 years old, which isn't particularly old for a goalkeeper in fairness, but yeah, I think if indeed we do want maybe a more experienced goalkeeper this year to make up the third backup and get Harry Tyler back out on loan again, I think I'd be looking elsewhere personally. And then just to round off, Graham Bailey, bit of a poor source, really, to be honest. I'm not entirely sure. I take this one with a bit of a pinch of salt, in my opinion. But his suggestion is that Leeds are still after better. These links were kind of going around right at the start of the transfer window, just as the previous season came to an end. Um, that Leeds were supposedly wanting to bring Beto in. Obviously, this is before we got Barry in, so and also, of course, when we weren't sure whether Calvert-Lewin was going to be staying or not. I think the fact Calvert-Lewin's gone now suggests to me that Beto won't really be going anywhere. I think he's played a big part in pre-season this year. Um, Obviously, Chimiti still doesn't look the finished product yet. So I think we potentially be looking to get him out on loan as well. But obviously, it depends on options. That would leave us with just two recognised strikers, really. And obviously, we've still got lot more positions we need to get numbers in ahead of striker this summer, if you ask me. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure how much truth there is in this one, but in any case, it would take quite a big amount of money for Leeds to get him on, and I'm not entirely sure um, if it's the type of deal they'll want to be pursuing. 27 years of age, and will probably cost around 25 million. I think the reports seem to be that we want to get as much of our money back that we paid out for him, which was around 25 mil a couple of years ago, back if we are going to sell him. So yeah, can't really see that one going anywhere, to be honest. But yeah, that rounds up this news roundup. So yeah, please leave a like if you enjoy. Comment below giving your thoughts on all the players being linked. And any names that haven't been linked that you think we should be looking to get in. Subscribe to the Toffee Blues channel for more Everton content, and we will see you in the next video. Up the Toffees.